I have come to Glencoe this morning to show you a house that may fool you because it looks like a historical Glencoe mansion, but it in fact is brand new. It's got this nice English garden out front, and this is George Adamczyk, the architect and builder, and Anne Montgomery, the developer and realtor, who are selling the house.
Correct.
Who designed together the house. Tell me a little bit about what happened here. I've just said it can fool people. You tried to make something that looked older.
We definitely wanted to have a timeless house on the outside, and we wanted something that looks like it's always been in the neighborhood and that it belongs in the neighborhood. So that was the goal that I turned to George with and said, all right, what do we do?
I also think that Anne tried to set a standard of added responsibility in use spec house.
What do you mean added responsibility?
I think she's tried to elevate the standard of responsibility. In other words, instead of building a home that didn't fit into the community, one that was very respectful of the community, respectful of the indigenous architecture, and also contributed to it rather than detracting from it, which too often builders are accused of doing. And
while we're talking authenticity, before we go in, George, tell me a little bit about the bricks. You talked about how the bricks and mortar really contribute to the feeling of it being an older house.
Sure. These are antique Chicago common bricks. They're approximately 125 years old. The dialects were specifically selected by Anne. And the mortar is struck in a manner to make it look like an old home that's been tuck pointed over the years, to really have that very, very old feeling rather than a new house.
Rather than looking like something that's been done.
That's just recently done. This definitely looks like a home that was done a long time ago and has been maintained over the years.
Oh, that's great.
And that's been the reaction we're getting.
As people say, how come I didn't notice this house 100 years ago?
Just about.
Or even two.
Now, we've got to talk about the golf course, and you mentioned that you wanted to be authentic to the neighborhood and you wanted to fit right in. You've also talked about the idea that it needed to fit both in the front and in the back.
Okay.
Let's hear about that.
All right. This particular property we thought was incredibly special. It is at the end of the 6th fairway of Skokie Country Club's very highly regarded golf course, and then adjacent to the 7th fairway. With this, we felt that it needed to be a house that would fit into the neighborhood within the golf course and on the outside of the golf course. So George and I did a drive all around. We jumped in a golf cart, went around and looked at the golf course and houses from the inside. Then we also realized that we needed to have two fronts for this house. One facing Grove, which is the street that it's on, and then another front actually facing the golf course.
George, tell me first about the staircase, because it really is sort of a centerpiece of this house.
Well, an important part of the staircase and the goal of creating what would be an authentic house is approaching the design of the staircase in an authentic way. And historically, in a great manor house that this house is emulating, the staircase would have been designed from scratch. It would have used no production parts, which is extremely common nowadays.
Right.
So from scratch, we designed every part of this staircase. The balusters were hand-turned to our designs. The newel posts, these square newel posts, have approximately 60 independent pieces that assemble to create this beautiful, old-looking, dense, visceral kind of post.
Oh, wow.
And the methodology, the thickness of the steps, the methodology of construction, the hand-shaved paneling, and many other.
You pointed out this is layered.
Yes.
I'm trying to point out here that it's not all at one depth, and there's a reason for that.
Exactly, because we wanted it to have this hand-planed kind of imperfection that would have been reflective of country homes in England, which this is emulating, where things were made by hand.
Then from that stairs, we've already come into the living room because of the golf course view, but let's talk about this great room. It's got, first of all, fireplaces at both ends. And it's a very large room. What's the idea here?
Well, the big idea is we're on a golf course, and we have a very grand space right outside our door. And I think the only way to have properly appreciated it is to create one great grand room that you could use as a focal point from entering the house, as a space that you see as you go to and fro from all the other rooms of the house, and a place where you could have very large gatherings, formal or informal, and just appreciate the huge amenity that's right outside your door. And that was the idea of it, just creating an internal space that captures the grandness of the external space. We have the dining rooms set up with easy accessibility from 3 places. The formal English garden in the front of the home,
Oh, we come to the dining room right from the garden. This is a very nice feature, this fireplace wall. It's got this Gothic arch, which we're going to try to pick up. It's in the hallways as well, but it's most visible here. And tell me what's going on there, Joe.
Well, the Gothic form is obviously a form that is often used in traditional Tudor architecture. And so a Tudor home is, of course, the classic English country home. And so this form was hard to deny when we were making a replica of an English country home. But what we wanted to do was keep this house fresh and sort of keep a slight tension of modern in the house. So we created this very monolithic limestone fireplace that goes floor to ceiling, that looks like a grand old castle, but also reminds you of possibly a slightly modern and edgy building.
Let's go take a look at the kitchen and the workings of the house. We're passing through the pantry. And on into this magnificent kitchen, which it's huge, absolutely huge.
The idea of the kitchen was pretty neat. It's another one of the goals of Anne as the developer, to create an understated and very authentic feeling house. And we have a scullery kitchen cabinet design. It's very understated, simple. It has a very authentic kind of look to it with the beaded inset cabinets, and all of the appliances are concealed behind paneling, taking advantage of some of the great new appliance approaches from Sub-Zero and other manufacturers, where you see zero hardware, not even a seam.
So here we come up to the landing. This is sort of a grand landing. We're going to see what there are 5 bedrooms off it, right?
Correct, there are 5 bedrooms.
But it's a nice family gathering space, and there's something. And this is probably the place to show why we're picking up a sheen on the walls.
This is Venetian plaster, which is a 4-step process on the walls, and then it is finally burnished so it becomes very bright and shiny. You could do it in any color. We've chosen to do it, of course, in the colors that we've used within the house.
Right.
So it just dances with the light.
It does. Unfortunately, it doesn't really on camera,
okay.
But I can vouch for it. It does, as you say, dance in the light. Let's go on into the master bedroom. So it sort of has a formal entrance, right? I mean, I'm really separated from the rest of the house.
Correct.
I come out to a view of the golf course again.
Yes, to be expected.
And actually the hall leads you into this little vestibule that pushes you right against the exterior of the home, where you could either go into the master bath or the master bedroom itself.
And this is the master bedroom.
This is the master bedroom, correct.
And lots of ceiling detail, lots of Gothic arch detail, and it's just a wonderful, relaxed room. And you could see that stylistically, it became a little fresher, maybe a little more lively. So we wanted this room to be sort of an oasis for the owners of the house, a little, maybe slightly more contemporary, a little more fresh, and just something that is a little tiny getaway, maybe. And the Waterworks bathroom is absolutely stunning. Yes, this is Waterworks' #1 best tub, and it's our company's absolute favorite, and rarely do we find a client that has the means to afford a tub like this, and we're so grateful that Anne Montgomery decided that it was worth investing for this home.
I didn't have any choice, George.
It is beautiful. That's true.
It is beautiful. It's
and
absolutely beautiful.
You can take a bath with a view of the golf course, right?
Correct.
You can take a bath with a view of the golf course. And it's
the golf course doesn't have a view of you. Right?
Correct.
No.
Okay.
And what's really wonderful about this bathroom is, even though it's a very large counter space, tons of storage, and a very ample bathroom, it maintains its intimacy, and it just scales really, really beautifully, and is a very bright and engaging kind of room.